together so they can try things. Yell about it, it's podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
Hello and welcome to Now Try This, the podcast where two best friends get together every week to try something new. I'm the master assassin Marcus.
Yeah, and I'm ready to do a podcast.
That was better than all of Keanu Reeves acting in this movie.
Because we are here to do John Wick 4. Guys, I am Nick, the other assassin who's about to slay this review. We are basically a review podcast. We are here every week. We challenge each other. But this week's special, because it's the first week of the month. And the first week of the month means something different. We did not pick the challenge. We did not challenge each other to try our favorite thing. We got a challenge from you guys at patreon.com/nowtrythiscast. You all submitted, you voted, and you decided that we would not be doing Neon Geo Evangelion. We would not be doing Up Here. We would not be doing Extraordinary. We would not be doing True Lies. We would not be doing The Princess Bride. We would not be doing Up Here. We would be doing John Wick Chapter 4. And Marcus honestly blew my mind that this won, because
I'm surprised.
I know some of the people who voted, and none of them voted for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know who besides the person who submitted this, who I assume was Joseph.
Yes. It was Joseph.
Great. Ghost, thanks so much for the submission. Fear God of Death. He keeps changing his username. I forget what it is. Fear God of Death. Thank you for the submission. I don't know who else would have voted for. I didn't. Not that I didn't want to watch. I was just surprised. This month was one of the best months of submissions that we've gotten.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Very true. I was very excited to watch any of these movies. Like,
Same.
Patreon wise, like, give yourselves a pat on the back. You guys killed it. Like,
And we tell you when you don't.
We're
There
excited.
have been months where we said, guys, do better.
oh, 100%. There's months where we're like, please just give us like something better, because I don't know what this is. But no, this was a great month, and I'm surprised that John Wick won.
So was I. But it was a happy surprise, because it's one of those movies that was on my radar. I was going to probably see, but time constraints, it wouldn't have been a back burner movie. It would have been one to catch later because of the busyness. But now, here we are talking about it.
No, 100%. I feel like it wasn't high on my priority list.
Well, before we get to that, Marcus, you got anything going on? You trying anything new? Anything
Nick,
you'd like to share with anybody about your life before we get to... Okay, cool. Great. Go ahead.
So my girlfriend, Daron,
Know her? Heard of her?
Producer of the podcast. She helps
Heard
out.
of her?
She's moderator in the chat. She has been leaving me a lot on weekends because she has, a lot of friends. So she goes to bachelorette parties and things. Now I am left to my own devices. And unfortunately, that means that...
Tell me how you really feel.
So normally it's fine. Like I've lived alone. I cook, I clean, I do my own thing. But I have a sweet tooth. I have a really, really bad sweet tooth. And when she leaves, there are no grocery stores within walking distance, and I can't drive yet. So I can't buy new groceries or anything while she leaves. And so sometimes I get a hankering for something sweet, but I don't want to pay $20 to get a delivery of like cookies or something, you know? Okay. So now take that thought. And now whenever I'm in the kitchen, I cook almost all of our meals. I do what can be described as kitchen jazz. And I go in and I just kind of am like, yeah, I don't like following recipes. It like pains me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like ADD brain or something, but like once you put a recipe in front of me, I will listen to half of it. I'll make it halfway down that list and then be like, okay, but instead I'm going to do all of this stuff.
Okay.
That's how I normally am. And it works for cooking.
I have a clarifying question though. So you're like, okay, I want to make this potato dish.
Sure.
Are you like, the potatoes go in for this long? Or you're like, does this have to be a potato? Or can it be a butternut squash? Or you're like, potatoes, how about I put pepperoni in the pot and then we'll see where we go from there. Like, how
Okay.
extreme of jazz are you doing?
It depends on the day. But all three
Alright.
have happened.
Okay.
For example, so I wanted something sweet and I wanted to do jazz. So I went in and I was like, I'm gonna bake something. I'm gonna bake brownies. And
Oh, you can't mess up. You can't jazz baking. That's literally contradictory to what baking is. It's science.
I found that out now. But I went in, I was like, cool, I'm gonna make avocado brownies. So like I went in, I like instead of like flour and stuff, I just took some cocoa, I took avocados, I mashed them up, I put chocolate chips in there. They tasted like shit, man. I cannot tell you how bad these things tasted.
Marcus, were you just like, I've heard of avocado brownies?
Yes.
So let me just take some avocado and stuff that's in a brownie.
Yes.
And I have avocado brownies.
100%.
Okay, cool.
100%. I looked up a recipe and I missed like 5 things that were supposed to be in there, pretty much. So, but I got close-ish. It was cocoa powder and avocados. Like I got that right.
It's like saying I made spaghetti and meatballs and I got close because there was pepper and like meat in there. So like
Yeah.
halfway there.
Yeah, pretty much. And then she was gone. That was like 2 weeks ago. And then she was gone again this weekend.
Oh no.
So I was like, I'm gonna do brownies again. But this time I had Nutella. So I was like, I'm gonna do Nutella brownies. That's the thing for sure. So
I've heard of it.
I looked it up and there's like 3 ingredient Nutella brownies that I found. And I was like, oh, cool. What if I added more ingredients to it?
Like what? Avocado?
Well, I had an old banana that I was like, this would be good in there, but then I ate it, so I didn't put it in there.
Oh, okay.
I didn't put it in, but I was like, part of me was genuinely upset that I had eaten it because I was like, man, it could have gone in my concoction. No, it was just, and I did like flour, I did some cocoa powder, I did a little bit of oil the second batch because the first batch didn't have any oil or anything in it, which it tasted fine, but they were dry.
Okay.
And eggs, and that was it. And honestly, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Pretty good. But you're right. It is a science. And I kind of was like, some of this. And
it's just not how it works.
I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that.
Wild. You are wild. I can't believe it. We're a little late to the party, but I don't care. Lexi and I, she did not leave me for friends this week.
I'm sorry to hear that you didn't have an opportunity to explore avocado brownies.
It sounds awful, dude. It sounds so bad. Like, avocado brownies in the first place are one of those things where it's like, listen, just have the brownie. Like, you're not, nothing about it is better except it's just nothing about it is better. Just
nothing
have the
about
brownie.
It is better. Yeah,
I don't care if you're like allergic to the stuff.
Yeah,
it's just eat the brownie and then suffer the consequences and just eat less brownies. Don't have it make it avocado. Anyway, we watched a show. We watched the third. Oh, thank you so much, Tizam, for subscribing because you are watching live on twitch.tv/nowtrythiscast, where we record this podcast live every Tuesday at 9 Eastern Standard Time. So,
and you can subscribe and help us out even more.
And if you really don't have that money, but you have Amazon Prime, you can give us those Bezo bucks and subscribe for free.
Money, 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 money.
We watched the 3rd season of Stranger Things. I know. The 4th season just came out recently. We are behind. I get it. Fine. Don't berate me. But I will say, good season of television. It was very good. It was very interesting because as opposed to last seasons where they built up to the thing, in this season, first episode, Billy's possessed, people are dying, group is separated right away.
Mm-hmm.
We're chasing Russians, we're chasing a news story right away, which had its pros and cons. It made for a very thrilling 3 nights because we had to finish all the season immediately because it was very thrilling. But that is the mall season. Yes, I love the mall aspect of it. Having the 80s mall, so fun.
It was fun.
I mean, just Scoops Ahoy is just such a funny bit with what's his face and the fact that he's best friends with Dustin is just so funny. And there's so many little parts that were great. And obviously, Dustin's girlfriend's so funny, but like, it's so fascinating how much that, oh yeah, I loved Elle making a friend with Max. That was so good. But every problem would be solved with like a phone tree. Like the fact that in this show, so many things happen independently of each other. This is the first season where I was like, wow, huge coincidence that everyone just happened to stumble up. Like Dustin just happened to be looking for the Russians, and Nancy just happened to be going to the news story.
Yep.
And Will's mom just happened to care about the magnets falling off her fridge.
Yep.
And I mean, the stuff about Billy being possessed, that wasn't a coincidence. That was like what was happening. But a great season, great show.
It was a great
cast.
season. I was surprised. Season 2, I kind of fell off a little bit, but season 3 got me back in.
Yeah, and it's funny because season 3 is way less inventive than season 2, right? Like it was just like the Russian thing was super inventive about how it all happened, but like it was just, it's the same guy as the second season, and he's still here.
Honestly, sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
I know. This was really an example of that, because a strong part of the show is like the lore of the upstate. Like the second season was trying to add other experiments and Elle's mom and like all these things. And, it made for the season to be a little pattering, but this season didn't have any kind of things like that. It did not expand on the lore. It did not expand on powers. It did not expand on any of that stuff. It was really good. It was really entertaining.
Good. But it did take time to look into people's backstories a little bit more, give people more character depth.
And that I think was
worked.
Important, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like the fact that Stranger Things was able to have a successful third season was because of all the work they've done. And we don't have to spend as much time with the characters because we know the characters. So they can just get to that. Yeah. We're really excited. I'm pretty sure Hopper's not dead because I'm pretty sure I saw him in promo stuff for season 4. So excited to see how that all plays out.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you're a couple years behind on a show. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's fair. Nick, are you ready to talk about John Wick? I'm John Wick 4.
Here, I'm going to give you I'll be the Bowery King and ask you a John Wick line you can deliver to me. You ready?
Okay. Hit me with that John Wick line.
John, it seems like you might be here. John, are you back?
I never left.
That's not what he says.
I don't remember what he says.
He says, yeah, I think I'm back. I'm thinking I'm back.
This movie, man. This movie.
Dude, fucking crazy. John Wick. So this is John Wick 4 is the 4th installment. It is a neo-noir action thriller directed by Chad Stahelski, written by Shay Maten and Michael Finch, starring, of course, Keanu Reeves and lots of other people. Most notably, of course, Lawrence Fishburne and Ian McShane, and then a whole new cast of characters for this iteration. Marcus, gosh, you love John Wick? What's your feeling?
So,
where are you at, buddy?
I want to say this. I want to make sure I emphasize this. This is the highest rated John Wick movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It beats 1, it beats 2, it beats 3. It is the highest rated. Both critics and fans love this movie.
Those are all true facts so far, you've said.
And I don't know why. This movie was 3 hours long.
It was 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
Oh, 2 hours and 40 minutes? What a big difference from 3 hours. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I practically got a whole day back from those 20 minutes. It was like, dude, I thought it was 2:59. Like, if you would have asked me right now, I would have told you it was 2 hours and 59 minutes.
I'll give you a chance to be a little less of an asshole, okay? Try that for the rest of the podcast. See how that goes for you. Like, just try it on for size. I didn't make you watch this. I didn't make you watch this movie.
2 hours and 49 minutes.
The Patreon made you watch it.
I'm not mad at you.
It wasn't me.
I'm just mad. It's 2 hours and 49 minutes. So bam, 11 minutes.
You didn't watch all the credits. You walked out of the theaters.
Come on.
That's right.
Come on. Come
There
on.
were some minutes there.
I watched the post-credits scene. Okay, I saw
maybe
that
you
one.
didn't watch all the credits because I didn't. I asked you before we started, was there a post-credits scene? And you're like, yeah. I was like, oh, shit. I missed it. I left.
But the movie starts off with, well, first off, I want to say this. My history with John Wick. I love the first movie, mid on the second one, did not like the third one. What about you?
Loved the first one, enjoyed the second one, thought there were parts of the third one that were really interesting, but overall it was a miss.
Okay, cool. So we're starting off similar spots. Maybe you're a little bit
I think I'm just a
higher
little
than
more
me.
forgiving
Yeah,
because like I really like shit like this, right?
Mhm.
Like this is like the American version of what a kung fu film would be, right? Like we don't have kung fu films. I love, older like Drunken Master and Hero and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and House of Flying Daggers. Like I love these movies. Grew up on them, and we don't have those kinds of things here. But our closest things are Die Hard and Extraction and things like this. And this is kind of like a hodgepodge of all those things. And we don't get movies like this. We don't get well-made movies like this very often. There's a lot of movies like this. They're not very well made.
Like the last big ones were like before the John Wick franchise were like Raid Redemption, and
those aren't American films, is what I'm saying, right?
Yes, it's fair. Yeah,
Right.
before
Like,
that we had the
don't
gun
have them over
fu
here.
age in the like early 2000s or something like that. We had a lot of those kinds of movies.
The closest thing we get to these is like maybe a Mission Impossible, right? Maybe a 007.
Yeah, nowadays,
right? Spy, assassin, thriller, action things. The American cinema has gone towards like the Bourne movies, which you're allowed to like the Bourne movies. I'm not gonna shit on you, but those aren't good films. Those are not good films. Those are not good movies. The action is made a whole genre of taken movies that nobody is doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. No one is in danger at all. It's all like backs and shoulders as things are moving around. It all looks crap. And this was like the first time in a long time where it felt like my childhood again. It felt like the Matrix movies growing up, right? Because obviously these people were involved with it back then, right?
Yes.
Like the Matrix movies was our biggest influence of Japan coming over here at the time, right? Like of Asian cinema, like permeating ours. So this just with Keanu Reeves coming back, with that team coming back, with the attention to the action, that being the principal thing, I'm so like on it for these films. And then they do this really cool thing where like it's not flawless. There's so many problems with it, but at its basis, I do find it interesting sprinkling in a little bit of a lore that obviously is not written down anywhere because they have not figured all of it out. And I think they need to explain but the more they explain it, the worse it gets. But like at that first film, breaking open the floor with the hammer, pulling out the coins, going to the places with the people, the cop coming to the door and saying, "Hey, John, working again?" No, just for tonight. Oh, okay, cool. Letting it go, like, whoa, this whole underground city. Oh, Lawrence Fishburne controls this underground. Oh, there's this hotel. On board.
Yeah. I feel like The Matrix was sort of a culmination of the Gun Fu era of cinema. We had Kung Fu. Kung Fu was gone, and then they brought it back with Gun Fu, and the evolution of that. A lot of like Chow Yun-fat came to fame around that time for how impressive he was in Gun Fu. He was kind of the face of Gun Fu for a long time. And then The Matrix was sort of like America's take on that kind of thing. And it felt like I don't want to say it ended it because I don't know exactly like the years of like when it started to kind of end, but The Matrix was like sort of like the tail end of that. And then after The Matrix, it felt like we were kind of done with it for a while.
Yeah, but it's funny because coming out of that, we had a couple American films with Asian stars like The One and
Bulletproof Monk with Chow Yun-fat and
yeah. Like there was a but
honestly, that was around
I would
that
watch
time,
a video essay about all this.
Yeah.
Truly super interesting. But
but that was around that time.
Like the biggest homage we've gotten, right?
Since The Matrix, I think John Wick is a return to that. It's been like we and it's because of John Wick, it's brought it back overall, because we got like Atomic Blonde, we
Mhm.
got
Extraction with Chris Hemsworth. I don't think we would have got that film without John
yeah,
Wick.
we got more.
You know?
We got a couple of things here and there because John Wick kind of brought it back.
Oh, people
little
want
bit.
action stars again, and we're like, yes, we do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure and I'm so sorry to everyone out there. I'm sure we're butchering it. I'm sure there's so many movies we're forgetting. And this is just us speaking on our experience of what we've seen lately. I'm sure we're missing so many things. Please let us know in
Oh,
comments
100%. We're
about
missing
all
stuff.
the stuff we're missing and the etymology. Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. That's a great example of like getting back to like this permeating like normal movies again.
Exactly. Yeah.
But now, Marcus, we are getting to the point now where things are becoming commentaries on themselves because we're on the 4th film, baby. The 4th one in the franchise. Where are we at? What's going on?
I had high hopes for this film, and I don't want to say
It was
look,
hyped.
I have things I love, I have things I hate, and I honestly at the end we'll figure out kind of specifically where I am at overall with the movie. But I went in kind of being like really having to hold back because I was like, oh shit, okay, hold on, are we back? Because John Wick 1 was incredible. Some of the best like fight choreography I've seen in American film in a while.
Because it was so
like,
simple.
So simple, so elegant, so clean, like smooth, efficient, tactical killer. Like I got who John Wick was as a person through his body movements and the way he took people out. I was like, yes, he is the Baba Yaga. He sold me on being the Baba Yaga. I get it.
Yeah.
And then
Which
the
is
next two
crazy
movies-
because Keanu Reeves is in his 50s.
Yep.
He didn't retire, but he was out of the limelight for a long time.
Mhm.
People didn't think he had it anymore. He tried to do a couple movies that did not hit. Like, what was that? Like the 7 Ronin or like 17 Ronin?
Yes,
or
7 Ronin.
Whatever. Like, he's been doing some things that everyone was like, no, Keanu Reeves ain't
Yeah.
in no more. And then he did this, and we're like, whoa.
He's good. And he sold me in that first one. Yeah. And then so the fact that everyone was saying this movie was so great, it's like in the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes. And
Audience and reviewers. Audience is 93, reviewers is 94.
yeah. And
Whoa.
me liking that first one so much was like, oh shit, we're doing it. We're like either we're gonna like end it all here, or this is gonna be like not a soft reboot, but this is gonna launch more Wick films. Like usually when something this highly rated, it's either like a good ending for the franchise, or it's like this is a new jumping off point for the franchise.
And you continue to feel that way because of this 94% rated movie, is what you're going to say, I assume.
I'm gonna just talk about the movie, and that's it. And I'm gonna say this.
You know what?
It
The
took me
problem is when we talk about specifics, you're going to talk about things you like because obviously there's cool things in
Mhm,
this movie.
mhm.
So please go ahead, tell me.
It took me
Lambast
a
it, dude.
day to watch this movie. Like it took me an
It felt like a day because
day.
you were in the theaters,
No.
right? Yeah.
No.
You're in the.
I left the theater and I said, I'm going to go watch the Mario movie now. Then I came back.
Did you
to
see that
this
9
theater.
million people watched that illegal Twitter video of the whole Mario movie?
I saw that was very funny.
That's very funny. Very
But
popular.
it just felt like a long film, even though it isn't necessarily a long film.
It's long.
3 hours
250 is
long. Is like I was watching this movie and I genuinely think I could have cut 40 minutes out of it. Like no problem, 40 minutes out of it.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but can I tell you a fact that I just read in the Wikipedia?
Sure.
Post prediction. Zahesky described an early cut of John Wick Chapter 4 as screwed because the expanded world building of its title character and the introduction of new characters took 225 minutes of screen time. Editor Nathan Orloff performed more substantial cuts, reducing the film to 169 minutes.
My savior!
Nathan Orloff.
I love you, Nathan. I've never been more hyped for an editor. That is, you did the Lord's work and you saved
And I
the
need
movie.
to do the math. That means 225 minutes is the first cut of this movie was 3 hours and 45 minutes. Yeah.
insane. That's an extra hour long, basically. Like, that's crazy that the movie could have been this long. I'm just gonna get into the movie. The movie starts.
I will tell you my overall.
Tell me. Okay, tell me your overall now. I thought you were gonna wait.
I will say I feel bad. I feel really bad because there's not a lot of actors that I give so much grace towards because I'm so freaking excited to see them in a movie. And Donnie Yen is one of them. I gave you Triple X as a challenge, mostly because Donnie Yen was the villain in that movie.
Yeah.
I am a simp. I lay down at the feet of Donnie Yen. He is my all-time #1 action star. And I love watching Tom Cruise movies. And I love Die Hard from back in the day. And I love so many things. But Donnie Yen is just like principally so amazing. Every time he moves, every time he does one of his little fast punches, every time he does that little quirky smile and he's like oozing his charm as he's about to like do something kick-ass, I am melting. I love Donnie Yen so much. As we were watching this film, I was like, Lexi, you were going to watch so many Donnie Yen films now that I see that you are enjoying his performance because I love this man.
Nick, that seemed like a schoolboy crush. Like you are infatuated with Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen? Donnie Yen?
Donnie Yen. The fact that Donnie Yen wasn't making the number of movies that Jackie Chan and Jet Li were making over in the States is a crime. Because I love Jet Li and Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah.
I fucking love those movies growing up. Like the good ones and the bad ones.
I will
watch The Medallion. I will watch The Tuxedo. Like whatever, you know? I'll watch them all. But Donnie Yen is best. Oh.
Yeah.
God.
I
the
like
fight that he has with the spear with Jet Li and Hero, iconic.
It's good. Donnie Yen is great. Donnie Yen, I can't knock Donnie Yen. I love him. And when I saw him, I was very excited. And he had me very hyped for this movie. So did Keanu Reeves. So did Keanu.
I mean, we've been like praising John Wick and Keanu Reeves praise this whole time. Yeah. So I just preemptively, like, there's nothing about this movie that I am like going in that I was anything less than hyped about.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
As you go and tell me the things that you were going to be like, well, I'm probably be like, nah.
That's okay.
That was hype.
That's okay. That's okay.
But we'll find out.
Okay.
Go ahead. Start.
Ready? The movie starts with them with like a fist, just like bloody punching some rope and a wood board. It's classic kung fu like beginning. Like, oh, he is training. He's ready to kill. We are excited. Then Lawrence Fishburne walks in and says some dumb shit.
Oh my god!
And he's
chewing the scenery. Shakespearean actor Lawrence Fishburne with fucking pigeon clothes on. John, the world sits at the feet of the king as I walk in. Oh
yes, Lawrence Fishburne. He kills it in this role. He knows what he was doing. He killed it. I love him.
Every movie, all of them.
And then they light this little triangle of fire that made no like why it just served no purpose in the scene. He lit one trash can, it went connected, lit the other trash can, connected, lit the other. It was just for coolness. And I don't want to say that it took me out of the scene, but I was just distracted.
You're talking about Marcus, you're talking about it. I have no freaking idea what you're talking about. That's how in it I was. I don't have any recollection of a trash can or a fire. All I remember is Lawrence Fishburne coming out, cock out, doing all this thing, and Keanu Reeves punching the thing and turning back and saying he's ready. That's all I remember from the opening.
That's all the scene should have been. And
that's all I remember.
But he lit a whole fire and there was a whole thing. And I was very confused because Keanu Reeves, if he was in the center of the fire, I would be like, oh, that's cool. Very cool shot. He was outside of the fire. So I was just very like in my head too. I think the reason I was so mad about it was because the cool version of that is he's dead center, fire around him. And he's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. You know, like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's badass, whatever. But he was just outside of the fire.
Can I just tell you? I'm so hyped right at the beginning of this movie because I was turning to Lexi and I was like, we just watched. I rewatched. She watched for the first time 3 beforehand to catch up because honestly, there is a little bit of plot, and I would have been confused if I didn't just rewatch it. I was really glad I did just rewatch it. And throughout most of 2 and all of 3, John Wick is just tired because it's like the same 2 days, and like he is like going through it the whole time, completely exhausted, still hurt and bloodied and stuff. And now I'm looking at a John Wick that's like refreshed and like ready to do things.
Yeah.
And I am so hyped about
Yeah.
that because I think a big problem with the third one is he's tired the whole time because of the premise of him running the whole movie and most of 2, right? Like it's a continuation of running. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And he I don't know if he does it on purpose or if he's just 58, like Lexi said in the chat, and he's really tired, but he looks tired by the end of that movie.
Yeah, I think that this is him fighting back. I feel like the last 2 movies were him kind of like running away, and now he's holding his ground and fighting back, which felt really cool and felt good.
Yeah.
I have in my notes, the next thing is, oh shit, is John Wick a globe-trotting adventure now? I'm hyped in all caps.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed him like in the desert, like going after one of the other, like the heads or something like that of the assassin guild. Yeah. He's going after one of the elders. He shoots him and he's just like, I'm going after all of y'all now. And I'm like, oh, I am so hyped. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Yeah. That's where I'm at right now in the film.
I'm right there with you. He rode a horse to get there. It was fucking dope.
And then that's also when I realized I forgot like everything that happened after part 1. Like I was just like,
I'm really glad I rewatched 3. It was really helpful.
Good call.
Because the elder was the guy who took his finger and his ring, and he's the one that he went to find a way to like get out. And he said, yes, you have to go kill the manager. And then when he gets there to kill the manager, he's like, I don't want to kill the manager. So him and the manager fight back. Yeah. But then they reinstate the manager, and the manager shoots John Wick off the roof. And he just survives with Lawrence Fishburne surviving.
Okay, thank you. I needed that because I was like,
truly, I don't. There was no recap at all about it at all.
I remember him cutting off his finger or something. I remember them interacting, but I didn't realize like that's a much bigger significance than I had in my head. But they kill him, and then
I'm mad they didn't bring the ring back. He went there for the ring, and the ring never came. It should have, like writing wise.
Oh
the Marquis should have had his ring.
You're right. You're right. Because it was his wedding ring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been great
to show his allegiance.
That would have been a great scene to see him grabbing it back.
I know.
You're right.
Or they gave it to Kane when he got the contract to kill him. Something. Yeah, somewhere.
Something. You're absolutely right. This is a missed opportunity.
It's in those 25 minutes that were cut, I bet.
Yeah. And then Mr. Krabs was John Clemens or something like that. What's that guy's name?
Clancy Brown?
Clancy Brown comes up and he is just like so cool. He has this trench coat on, full of swagger. And I was like, Mr. Krabs, are you going to kill some people? I'm hyped.
Marcus, I love Clancy Brown as much as the next person. Why the freak was he in this movie?
Because he's cool.
He didn't give him something to do.
He did. He
Name
came
one
out.
Thing he did.
Nick, I was the most impressed with him in the beginning of the movie. He comes out. He has a big hourglass in his.
That was cool.
In his thing, and
After
he gives him an
that.
ultimatum. Nick, I do not. I just want to really respect the gangster that it takes to just walk around with nothing in your bag but a big hourglass and just slam it on the table when you give people an ultimatum. Like, I'm gonna do that from now on.
Marcus, I'm gonna make you defend this whole film. That's gonna be hilarious. That's like, the way this is going. I'm trying to find common ground here with you because I know you didn't like some parts, and I'm saying the parts that didn't work, and you're like, hell no, Clancy Brown's the best part of this movie.
I loved a lot of this movie.
Because it was so good.
Well, I won't say that, but he walked out and it was great, and he just slammed it. I feel like just imagine, like next time I'm at work and I have to give someone a task, I'm just gonna drop an hourglass and be like, "You have until the sand runs out." Yeah. Oh,
that would really work. I will say that this beginning part, so the movie, I think the parts it doesn't work is when it gets into the nitty gritty of stuff because we don't care. We want to see cool stuff. The setup, it worked. Meeting the Marquis, seeing the Continental go down, seeing Ian McShane, manager, be upset, seeing Lance Riddick be shot, R.I.P. to Lance Riddick in real life,
Yes.
Sharon in the movie. Like, all that worked in the beginning. I was like, cool.
Mhm. I was really into it.
Yeah.
And then they introduce, well, they basically, they give the hotel 1 hour. They say you got to clear out. Otherwise, not otherwise. We are going to destroy this place. You have an hour to leave. And then they show Lance Riddick and the manager of the hotel. What's his name?
Ian
McShane. They are there in front of Bill Skarsgård, who's the villain. And then Bill Skarsgård talks in a French accent.
Yeah.
And it is one of the worst accents I've ever heard in a movie. It was offensive to my ears. Nick, you have said yourself, you are not great with accents.
I would say bad.
You blow Bill Skarsgård out of the water with your accents.
That's so not true.
It was the worst accent I've ever heard. It was so bad.
I was, before you said that, I was literally about to come and said, wow, non-American head boss role. We've seen this role a million times. It's such an unforgiving role that's boring and doesn't have anything. But Bill Skarsgård really sells it. I really liked it. That's what I was about to say before you lambasted him. I thought it was good.
He sounded like Lumiere. Like it was.
That's how French people. What do you think French is? You're gonna knock the guy for sounding too French? That's how French people sound.
Maybe I don't know. I am not a French.
This is how the French people talk.
What
would you like, John Wick? You need to kill John Wick. That's how they talk.
That's exactly how he sounded.
Well, thank you for the compliment. I also think I sound French, which is why
honestly, I think yours was a little better than his. But it was rough. It didn't take me out of the movie, but it was rough.
I know for a fact accents don't bother me as much because when we used to watch Game of Thrones, our ex-roommate would lambast accents all the time, and I would just be sitting there like, sounded fine to me, sounded good to me, sounded great to me. I couldn't do it. It was perfect for me. Didn't take me out for every accent in that whole entire show. And I know objectively, Game of Thrones had some bad accents. People have said this, not just him. I don't know I don't know which bad. I don't know which ones are bad. They all sound great to me. I don't know.
Normally, I'm looser on it. I'm not like a snob because honestly, I don't have that much worldly experience and I cannot tell you genuinely what a good French accent's supposed to sound like. But it was rough on the ears a little bit for me. But it didn't take me out of the movie. I'm still in.
I liked them overall.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of roles are very unforgiving. They don't give you a lot. You just have to be menacing.
Yeah.
Trivial in like some weird way.
I think he did a good job as the villain.
But then we met Kane, right? He gave Kane the name. Is that what's next? You meet Donnie Yen for the first time?
Yes.
Yeah, because you meet Donnie Yen before we get to Osaka.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we meet Donnie Yen. Let me ask you a question. Why was Kane... was the lack of eyesight of Kane because they saw Donnie Yen do another blind part? And they were like, cool, let's do it. Donnie Yen has had 2 big American franchise breaks in recent memory, and they made him blind both times. It was this and Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
He's done obviously tons of others. He's done tons of other things.
Yeah.
But like his big Star Wars, John Wick, big deal franchises, and they made him blind both times.
It is weird, but I do think it's kind of like a tropey thing, like, oh, the blind assassin. Like that's an archetype in these kinds of films sometimes. So I think that's what they're going for, but it just felt weird. Like he didn't have to be blind. There was no reason for it.
But I will say, even having said that, God, he's really good at portraying. He's so good. Like he's so freaking good. Like
he does a good job.
Wow. Like every time he throws a punch and he's looking the other way and like he's like knocking out his cane on the thing and it's so precise. And God, I'm just gushing over Donnie Yen again. But he is so good at everything he does.
I will say this about Donnie Yen. They did him dirty.
In this movie?
Oh, they did him dirty. Because when he comes out, he is looking shabby. He's got weird hair. and it's just like he looks bad, and I was like,
he's retired.
I look. I was like, what the hell? Is he gonna look like this the whole movie? Like Donnie Yen's like kind of a handsome guy, I think.
He's very handsome. He's objectively very handsome. Yes.
And I was like, they have him looking like a freaking like middle school kid. Like, what is happening? He's just got this weird haircut.
They fixed it.
But they fixed it immediately after he pretty much like comes out and he's like suave, nice cut, everything. He's good.
Perfect foil for John Wick.
Yes.
Similar story. Similar, he's out and supposed to be retired. There's parallels. The same like nice guy assassin underneath it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He plays it so well. It's so heartbreaking every time he does everything. And there are scenes in this movie where John Wick is not involved and it's just Kane. And I'm like, totally works. I'm totally in it.
Yeah.
And Donnie Yen has already said, I'll do a Kane movie. Give it to me.
I like Donnie Yen a lot. A lot of these like old kung fu guys, like I want to see them working. I want to see them doing stuff. I want to see them, if they want to work, obviously they're allowed to retire.
Oh, sure.
But
I think he still loves to work. The way he talks about it, he still very much loves to do it.
Yeah. I'd watch
We
a Donnie
finally
Yen
have
movie.
gotten Michelle Yeoh like the prominence and the adoration she deserves. There's more, like bringing Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen, and there's so many more names that we don't even know that are even more talented than these people that you just need to, those barriers are coming down, and I just wish they would come quicker, because there's, Donnie Yen's old. He can't.
Agreed.
He's not
Agreed.
going to be able to do this much longer. He's 59.
Yeah, I feel like what was it? The Raid, The Night Comes for Us is another one that was good. Like there's been a few foreign films that I think with a newer breed of like kung fu that I'm interested to see that them bring that to America a little bit more.
But then we go to Osaka, Japan.
And
I am freaking there for it, dude. I love the aesthetic. I love the Japanese continental.
Yes.
And of course, oh my God, person running it is Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yes.
Iconic. He is just another one of those guys that just like, yes, give him his due. Every time he shows up, he is freaking fabulous and amazing, and grew up watching him do stuff, and I'm just so glad he's like here prominently, just as much lines as everyone else, a huge part of the story. It's just so nice to see because he's so good.
Yeah, I'm looking up to see very handsome picture on IMDb.
It's kind of an old picture.
I was gonna say he's not, but I just saw him in Bullet Train, but he was in Mortal Kombat. He did great in Mortal Kombat.
The first time I saw him was The Last Samurai way back when.
Oh, he was in the Wolverine, Speed Racer.
Yeah,
I was in a lot of The Last Samurai
since 65.
Oh, he was in Ringu. I was like, I recognize the young picture a lot.
Oh,
he was in Ringu.
Yeah,
he was the boyfriend or the dad, I guess, not the boyfriend. Cool.
So we see the Japanese continental, we see the aesthetics there. It's run a similar but different way, and it starts to set up the next big action place for the thing. And you find out that the manager there is friends with John Wick, and he's throwing them away.
Yeah, and I love it. And you see that there's this dynamic where like his daughter is the concierge, or right? That's what was going on. Yeah, his daughter was the concierge, and so she was concerned because they had killed the concierge of the Continental in New York, and so
they didn't kill him, but they killed the
concierge.
She was concerned.
She's the concierge.
Yes.
Okay. So they killed the concierge of the Continental. So she was like, well, I'm worried that if you fuck with John Wick, like we're going to get fucked up next.
And she was right. 100%.
She was 100% right. Because John Wick shows up, and then immediately all of the French dudes show up too. Do they have a name?
No.
Okay.
They were just the Marquis henchmen people.
The Marquis. The group is called the Marquis, right? Is that?
No, the Marquis is Bill Skarsgård's name.
Okay.
Yeah. He became there's the High Table, and he's a member of the High Table, and the High Table appointed him the Marquis to take care of this. They gave him more authority to take care of the situation. So, I mean, gosh, I don't even know what to say because it was so cool. It was just so cool. It was just so cool seeing all the people at the Osaka Continental taking care of everything and fighting, and
Mhm.
the action was great. And John Wick almost took a little bit of a backseat for a second to show them
Yeah.
all off and to
Which I
show the
liked.
manager, and I loved it. I did not need him front and center, but then I did have a thought where it's like, I would like John Wick to like come back up, and then they did. They had that
Mhm.
great sequence of him with all the glass displays of weapons and stuff, and then we got to see. And this is my thing about John Wick movies. I don't want action scene after action scene after action scene. I want every action scene to have a take, a
Yeah.
reason, a thing. And this movie did that. This one, we got to see John Wick with nunchucks. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
That was enough of a reason to have that action piece, to see something just a little new, a little different, and I want that for every action scene. And spoilers, they did that in all these action scenes. None of them, for the most part, didn't feel like random. And now there's a little bit here and there to like connect stuff, but the big moments were like, we are doing this action set piece because of we want this thing, and this one was to like have nunchucks.
Yeah.
And to introduce Kane as he came in too, of course.
Yeah. No, I love this whole sequence. I thought the fights were incredible. I thought the set pieces were great. I really like the dynamic. We really get to see Donnie Yen in this instance where he's fighting. The whole hotel is fighting, so you get to see like the hotel's militia versus the militia of the Marquis, and like them going to war was pretty cool. I think I like seeing other people fight. I think you make a great point. I think that was like something that was missing from the other franchises. Like he had partners that were fighting, but it was like, this is one whole group versus a whole other group, which is different choreography, very like visually different too.
Yeah.
And I liked all of that. I like this whole sequence was great.
Yeah. But still bringing that, that John Wick sensibility, right?
Mhm.
Like because the John Wick sensibility is what makes these movies so good. And only following John Wick do stuff is, I think, where the second and third one started to peter out a little bit. And in this movie, we saw a lot of people doing a lot of things, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
And just again to talk about Donnie Yen, love the little. Listen, I harped on the blind thing, but like talk about like being a movie that, in terms of correctness, at no point looked down at him about it. Nobody made a joke about it. Nobody. Well, mostly. Oh my God, the blind guy can't take me out. Everyone was scared of him, rightly so, from the get. Every moment, there was no points where like him being blind was ever a hindrance.
Mhm.
He was never like, oh man, it's not like a Daredevil movie. It's like, yeah, he's blind, but like there's this one moment where you can't because you hit the pole. Like there's all these things. Like none of that happened. He was completely in control, like John Wick is. In almost more so in every situation he was in, when he put the little doorbell things as the people came on, pop, 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 the way he takes it was really good.
No, it was great. I absolutely love that. Like when he puts the doorbell thing, he basically, to explain quickly, he puts doorbells, like sticky doorbells that are like anytime you pass, I guess it's not a doorbell, but a sensor. So he puts a motion sensor on the wall and it makes a doorbell noise when you pass it, so he can know where you are and shoot in that direction. So he remembers, okay, I put one here, I put one here, and put one here, and goes off the sound and shoots you as you pass them, which was great. I thought that was really clever and fun.
Yeah. So good. One criticism is the main marquee henchman guy,
the Spanish guy.
I just wish they gave him a shtick, a thing, something. He just kept coming up as like a foil for John because he kept chasing him, but like he was indistinguishable from the other people. He's just a little bigger. Like I want him to have a thing or a personality or like a something.
Yeah, there were. I want to say I have two. Not questions, but two things I want to bring up about this scene. I'm bringing up random things. I know I'm hyper focused on the things that I guess maybe I don't need to be hyper focused on in the scenes. But one,
whatever.
They
Live
grabbed
Live your best life, King.
Swords instead of guns. Yeah. And I was like,
everybody's
that's so
bulletproof,
stupid.
Dude. No, everybody's bulletproof here, dude. Everyone's got bulletproof suits.
But you're right. That's what it was. It was like swords are just as good as guns because everyone's bulletproof.
It is so dumb, Marcus. It is so dumb. The avenue is ridiculous and stupid and makes no sense, but the result I think is worth it because we get because if you can ignore this part, if you can ignore if you can ignore all the if you can ignore all that, everything else about it made the movie good.
I was very confused, like, because you're talking about the big Spanish guy, and that's why I wanted to bring up, like, they're shooting at him point blank, and he's just like one arm blocking it, and I was like, I forgot about the Kevlar suits, right? Like, I just completely forgot about that.
She didn't. I not to call her out, but we were 2 hours in, and like something happened. She's like, "Gosh, I don't know why they keep missing." I was like, "Lexi, they're hitting. The suits are bulletproof. Don't you remember?" And she's like, "Oh." I was like, "Why do you think they're doing this?" And she's like, "I don't know."
I'm with Lexi. I was so confused. I was like, he's just blocking bullets with his arm like that. I was just like, my mind was blown. But yes, I remember it eventually when they were like, "Oh, we've prepared your Kevlar suit. It's 100% Kevlar," whatever. I was like, "Oh, everyone must have Kevlar suits."
They did have the one really funny bit where at the end duel, he took off his Kevlar suit and just bullets just fell out. You heard that, right? When he took off his jacket, just bullets, took off the vest, bullets. So they're aware. They understand that it's ridiculous.
It's very silly.
But it means we get all these cool sword things. And it's also like what's more plausible? That in this weird world that all these crazy things are happening, they invented a suit that's pretty much bulletproof, or that every single one of these master assassins is a bad shot, like in Star Wars.
I guess
you just got to assume everyone's a bad shot.
Yeah,
it's just what you have to assume. You know,
I will say this:
pick your poison.
Not one person brought a grenade.
You're so right. Grenade. Oh my god, Marcus, these people have all the money and all the resources in the world. They could have drone shot John at any point. 100%. They knew where he was. And why would they care about anyone else there?
It doesn't matter. These are the biggest villains trying to get rid of John Wick. Like this guy who's been harassing them for 4 movies. And they're just like, not one person thought to bring an explosive or a rocket launcher or C4 the building. Like, the only explosion they have, like Clancy Brown put an hourglass on the table and said, "You have this long to get out of the building." And everyone's like, "Okay, cool, we'll leave." That's the only explosion.
I don't know. That is a hole in the movie.
It is a big
hole. Maybe in this world there are no drones. Have you seen drones? It's not our world.
Have we seen drones? No, I don't know. Maybe.
So anyway, we finish Osaka really quickly. I love that Kane has that conversation with the daughter, right? About like, don't die for this or whatever, as her dad's dying. I knew the dad had to die, like sad, because I want more from him, but all that cool. And we did meet, I guess it's important. And I want to know how you feel about it. The tracker, the bounty hunter, that one guy who had a lot of play in the movie, started his introduction here and was in every action sequence and in all the rest of the movie without a pair.
Maybe that was part of what was cut, his backstory.
100% that was part of what was cut.
I was so confused by that. Like, I was fine with it because we got it in the other films. Like, it's this guy who's after him, but he kept calling. I feel like the way it worked was he was calling, asking for more money, failing to kill John Wick. Calling, asking for more money, failing to kill John Wick. Getting close to killing John Wick, becoming friends with John Wick. Trying to kill John Wick again.
You forgot there was parts of that where he was... Every time he was also, before he got the call that he was saving John Wick. Like, he was making sure other people wasn't killing John Wick because he wanted to kill John Wick, but he needed to wait for the confirmation. But then by the time the confirmation came, he was on the other side. So
I didn't understand that journey either, because it was like, are you just bonding because you both like are good at fighting? Like, what's
they bond because he liked this dog, dude.
Yeah, that's true. I guess
that's
you're right.
Totally why. When he came up with the dog, I was like, "Oh, it's Halle Berry's son."
That's what I thought. Not to be like racist, but
that's not racist. There's a prominent character with a dog and another character with a dog game. It's the same kind of dog. But Lexi was like, she had a daughter, and I was like, oh.
Oh, that's what it was. I thought she had a kid, but I wasn't sure. And then I was like, I don't want to assume that this is Halle Berry's kid. I don't know. But you're right. It was like you have the
I
same
wouldn't have liked
dog.
that better. But
It's
I
your
thought it was.
whole personality that you use dogs to fight. We in the last movie met someone else whose whole personality was she uses dogs to fight. I
Yes.
thought there was a correlation, some kind of tie together. Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Lexi liked him a lot. Lexi thinks he should be the next John Wick.
No.
And I was like,
Hard
you know where
disagree.
I want him? Because I think he did a good job.
Sure.
He did a
yes.
good job.
Yes.
I think if they made the Continental show they're going to make is a prequel,
Mhm.
but if they made a Continental TV show now, what I would assume it should be is they pick like 5 assassins that you follow their lives and then they all end up in the same job together. That's like the premise of the show. He should be one of those 5, 100%.
Perfect.
That's the level that I want for him.
Yes.
Right?
He is.
And then the daughter of the other guy that died, of the Asaka, she should be another one of the assassins, and so on, and they're a group and do stuff, right?
Yeah.
He's totally was good enough. Good. He was totally great. That's the level. I don't want to see him in a movie.
No.
I don't need a whole movie.
He's good enough to be in an ensemble TV show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, not a knock at the guy. I knock at the writing.
Yes.
I knock at we don't.
I knock at what happened in that movie. It could have been writing. Could have been what was cut.
Yeah, because
he did his best.
Pretty good for what he had.
Mhm.
Honestly, he did great for what he had. He did
Agreed.
a lot. Like I was like interested as what he was going.
Yeah.
But anyway, we meet him there, and we just honestly we don't talk about him anymore because we just told everything that he did.
Well, I have one question.
I have
because
an answer.
You mentioned him using the dog. He's a dog-based assassin. He uses his dog to carry out
Tracker. They call him a
assassins.
tracker.
Yeah, we met Halle Berry, dog-based assassin, uses dogs to. In every movie, is there dog stuff now? Because the first movie was like so focused on the dog thing.
That's the joke. Yes.
So every movie, there's just gonna be dogs in John Wick.
Well, now there's spoilers. I don't know how many more John Wick movies are gonna be, Marcus.
I guess you're right. But was there a dog in part 2 also? I bet you there was.
Yeah, it was. He
Was it?
replaced it with like that pit bull. Remember?
You're right. There was.
At the end of the
whole
first one,
dog
he went to the
thing.
pound. He got the dog,
Yeah.
and he had a dog in the second
There's
one.
just a dog thing in every movie. It's so weird.
At the beginning of the third movie, he leaves the dog with the Continental as he goes.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like runs. Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
As he's like limping away in Central Park, the dog's with him.
You think there's
That's
gonna be
it.
a dog in the TV show, TV series?
There has to be, dude.
But John Wick's. It's not about John Wick anymore.
That's what all the assassins have to do, and then they realize they don't want to kill the dog, and then the 5 assassins go fight the high table. Man, hire me, freaking hire me, John Wick. Come on, I just wrote you a brand new show that's fire. Honestly, fire.
I like it. I like it. I like
Fire.
it.
Anyway, so we finished the Osaka stuff, and then we go to France.
This is where I started to not like the movie anymore. It was like I was at a 10.
There is a weird. No. It's he had to become a part of the family again.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's what happened. That's the next beat.
I was like at a 10. I was like, this movie's fantastic. It's incredible. It's so much better than 2 and 3. Like, I am very, very impressed with this movie. Like, I am riding high. And then this next part happens, and this whole segment, I think, could have honestly been cut out of the film.
I don't disagree with you story-wise. I will say I did like, and it was bad B-movie stuff. I did like him showing up to the fat guy and the card table and the fighting there. It was bad, and I liked it.
It was so bad.
But half of the reason I liked it is because the guy that was in the fat suit was Scott Adkinson, who is like the premier stuntman in America. Like, if you ask a stuntman who is one of the best stuntmen, people would say Scott Adkinson.
Okay.
And he doesn't get to act that much except in B movies because he's a stunt guy, and that's not how the industry works because the industry is stupid. But he has doubled for like all the Batman, and he's done superheroes, and he's done so much stuff. And when you have someone like that, that's a lot of him in all those shots. And I know that.
Yeah.
And like being able to take that away, knowing that they're doing a lot of that stuff, is like super cool for me. Like Donnie Yen, Keanu Reeves, and Scott Adkinson, that's them in those shots, except maybe the fall.
Yeah,
like, you have to use a stuntman for that, like contractually. But like the fighting, the throws of the fists, the swords, the guns, that's them.
Yeah.
And It was really cool.
The fight scenes were cool, but the fight scenes could have
the
happened.
card against his neck. Come on, the playing card.
The fight scenes could have happened with anything else going on. You know
Yeah,
what I
you're
mean?
right.
Like it totally
I don't
is like
disagree.
it didn't ruin the film or anything like that. But all of that could have still happened somewhere else, doing something else, something more.
There was a
interesting.
small fetch. There was a 45-minute fetch quest in the middle of this movie that didn't need to be there. I don't
it
disagree.
could have just been cut. And I don't know if we mentioned this, might have, but Donnie Yen is there. The reason he's a good dude. We find out
Super
almost
good dude, yeah.
immediately. But
He wasn't.
the
Oh, he didn't say
organization
anything in
has his
Osaka. He
daughter.
wasn't killing anybody, right?
Yeah, exactly.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
And then he got here and he killed a whole bunch of people. He just
Yeah.
didn't like him as much, I guess.
Yeah, but but yes, the organization has his daughter, so that's why he's like having to do all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And he's like the one that has to kill John Wick.
But this scene, it took me out of the movie so bad, man. It was like they basically, just for everyone listening, they sit at a card table. There's a guy in a fat suit, and he's like, "Beat me at cards, and I will let you go," or whatever. I don't know.
And he had 5 of a kind. You
Yeah.
didn't think that was funny? He had 5 of a kind. He had 5 twos. That was stupid. No?
I don't know
Well,
why
but-
that was stupid. That went over my head.
Well, because somebody had almost the best hand.
Mm-hmm.
Then somebody got the literal best hand you can get in poker. And then he got a made up, even better hand.
Oh, a
You can't
made
have
up
5 of a
hand.
kind.
Okay,
You can't have 5 twos, right?
'Cause
There's only
there's
4
4?
twos in the deck.
that's
Yeah.
what I.
Somebody
That's
had
what
4
I
of a
missed.
kind. The only thing that beats 4 of a kind is the royal flush. Someone got the royal flush, and then he beat the royal flush by having 5 of that
Okay.
was a joke. I like that. That was funny. But
Then the
you know what
a
I
fight
just
breaks
read in the
out.
Wikipedia that I didn't so sorry that I just didn't know that guy Sky Atkinson in the fat suit is a high table member. I missed that.
I thought that's
I
why
feel
they
like-
had to kill him.
I just thought he had killed one of the people of the Ruscaroma crime syndicate. I didn't know he was a member of the high table. I feel like this movie was going towards killing the high table.
Yeah,
So I feel like there should have been a little more emphasis that he
You're right.
was one of the people
100%.
that John is fighting.
I think it
'cause
was
it
like in
felt-
passing or something. They said it.
100. It was
Yeah.
probably in the subtitles, that was going so fast. I
Mhm.
probably missed it, but like he's one of the people after John Wick.
Yeah.
That should have been. I really thought the movie was going to be him going and killing all 10 members of the high table or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I guess I'm glad it wasn't, because then it would have been fetch and fetch and fetch and fetch and fetch. I don't know if what we got was much better. so.
I think what we got is similar for sure because
It's similar.
it started off interesting. It was like, oh, he's going to go after the high table. He's not. Okay, cool. They're going after him. Then it became again him being chased, which I was like, I was so ready for him to like start fighting back, and then it
Yeah.
kind of became him being chased again, which is fine. It ended up being fine, but it disappointed me a little bit.
I think you're probably not wrong. But again, I was so in it that I did not mind it. I liked the club fight.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
The club
Yeah.
fight was cool. This movie has like a 93% of Rotten Tomatoes, so I am in the minority here. So
Well, you're also barely knocking anything.
yeah, that's fair.
You're knocking about 7% of the film. So I think you might be right in line with everyone else. Wow. Hey, Marcus, wasn't this stump? No, that was cool. What are you
Yeah,
talking
100%.
about?
It was cool. This
It was
movie
just
was
kinda
cool
long. That's
until
not-
this point.
The only thing you've said, the only criticism you said was it's kind of long.
Look,
That's
but-
all you've said.
Movie length will knock off a good chunk of percent for me. If it feels too long,
Clearly.
I will knock off like 20% for a film.
And it's not even pacing, because the pacing is pretty good. That's not even what you're knocking. It's
No,
just
it was
long.
this moment. It was like I was in it, and I feel like what time is it? Like an hour and a half into the film or something like that.
Yeah,
that we
probably,
get
yeah.
here.
Probably.
Solid. I'm in it. If the movie was an extra half hour after that, 10 out of 10, perfect film. But they just had this weird lumpy sequence that didn't make any sense in the middle. And
Honestly,
it
it could have been 2
slowed down.
movies, huh?
100% could have been two movies.
It was originally supposed to be. They were supposed to film 4 and 5 back to back, but
I would've
COVID
loved
messed it
that.
up. COVID messed it up.
Yeah, I would have loved that. That was
Because
great.
he was starting to film. I just read this in the wiki. He was starting to film Matrix 4. Pandemic happened. They had to delay all of John Wick stuff because he needed to finish all that.
Mhm.
Obviously, it was important, even though it was a shit film. Yo, come at me in the comments if you liked Matrix 4. Come at me. Did you like Matrix 4?
I've never watched it.
You really, Marcus? I don't say this very often. You don't need to. don't taint your perception of the first three.
Okay.
There was nothing about it that was redeeming.
Okay.
Not a fight. They didn't have him fight. They do. So they have all these amazing John Wick films where they're like showing Keanu Reeves is like still has it and is like the best. And then they have Matrix 4, the Matrix, the thing that did all this, the made Keanu Reeves a household name. They don't have him fight in that movie, Marcus. He doesn't do almost any fighting. Anytime something happens, he goes like, ugh. And like that was a pretty good Keanu grunt. And he does like a telekinesis like burst to push people away. It's so bad.
That's very
How are you
funny.
gonna take the best part about those movies and make Keanu and not fight anything when we know he can do it? We literally watch you, Marcus. These scenes, the thing that makes it so cool is it's Keanu because they're long shots. You see his face. He is punching Scott Atkinson's fat bodysuit. You know it's him. He is trading blows with Donnie Yen at 59, 58. And in the Matrix movie, they have him go, I'm old.
Yeah.
Tell me.
You're right.
Tell me why.
You're
Explain it to me.
I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss.
I'm very upset about it. I was so upset because I just had I love those movies growing up, and I just made Lexi rewatch the 3, and I was like, perfect. We're gonna watch 4. It's like we're just coming out of the pandemic. Movies are back. Yeah. Oh,
you messed up. You messed up.
I messed up.
You messed up. You could have had her love the trilogy as much as you do.
She does. She loves. She legitimately, Lexi, like really likes that trilogy.
Okay.
Like, and it's like not her wheelhouse. It's just that's how good those movies are. And in retrospect, 2 and 3 are kind of better a little bit. Like you kind of see what they were going for a little bit more in completion. Watching them all. First one's obviously the best. But
yeah.
So what happens next? We go to Paris.
I genuinely don't remember what happens next. I feel like it was kind of it's a fog. It was like the second they hit the table and the fat suit came out, I was just like in a daze until we got to the final fight scene.
There was, I would say that's a criticism. And there's also, I think, a little bit too much political talk between the Marquis and the manager and Clancy Brown. And like some of it's okay, but like overall, I want those conversations with John Wick there.
Yeah.
Agreed. There's a lot of non-John Wick scenes.
Yeah.
About that stuff. And apparently there was more because it was going to get into the nitty-gritty of how these things work. And I already said the reason it's cool is because we don't know how it works.
Yeah. We don't need to know the lore. We don't need to know the
now
specifics.
The lore is stupid. Now the lore is just there's a couple people in charge on top, and the currency is gold coins. Like now there's no. It felt so mysterious at the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's
now
the
there's
problem
not
with it.
anymore.
I think when there's mystery boxes, you're like, oh, okay, what's behind this? How is this like connected network of assassins where we do these cool things? Like that's fine. That's all.
What are these markers? What are these tokens? What are these tickets? Now we have the answers to everything.
Yeah. Now it's just like, oh, it's just an organization that like you pay money and you get stuff done. Oh, okay, cool, great.
But then we go to Paris. And they agree to a duel, which is cool. And then just so there's an extra hour in the movie, which, again, I'm actually going to not complain about because I liked it so much. John is getting stopped on the way to the last duel. And I was so ready, Marcus. I was so ready to hate it. I was so ready, like, come on, we're running again. Can't they just let him drop him off, hide him? Lexi was like, get in disguise. And I was like, yeah.
Nah.
But I love
this.
The fighting.
This guy being back. But you like the part that we kind of even in talking about it, we yada-ya'd it. There was a lot of yada-yada-ing because from the table, from sitting down at the table to the part where he's running to get to the final fight, that's an hour of the movie. 45 minutes, maybe.
Is it an hour or is it like an hour?
And we just yada-ya'd over it in the recap. Like, I think that goes to show that, like, that's why this movie isn't a 10 out of 10 for me, is that there was just a solid, like, 45 minutes I could have cut.
Gosh. And you know what? I will gladly take another 45 minutes if we get to this action sequence again. Because, Marcus, where else do you get an action sequence that's almost exclusively going up and down stairs.
I loved it. It was amazing.
Perfect.
It was perfect.
It was so funny
Mhm.
and action and cool at the same time. You can't pull that off.
Yeah, I was back
How
in.
can you pull off funny? I'm laughing and like, yeah, ha 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 ha, yeah.
Yes, it's great. They do great like things with tension in that scene because he's racing against the clock. He has to make it there. There's a certain time to get to the duel. He's falling up and down the stairs. He's all over the place,
knocking people down.
You've got the
goes.
tracker like fighting in there as well. You got Donnie Yen coming in and being like, I'm actually helping you make it to the fight. And that's confusing and funny.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was nice. Great turnaround moment. God, the character arc of Kane, perfect in the movie with him.
Loved
it was perfect.
Yeah.
Marcus, how did you react when... Because this thing started and I was like, oh, we're running. They got this radio DJ and I'm like, it's fine, whatever. And then they get into the house and you follow John Wick in the house and then the camera does this.
Oh, I love that. That was really cool.
React?
It was like, I was like, oh, it's like a video game. It felt like a top-down shooter kind of thing. You were just watching this scene and I loved it.
Marcus, as I was sitting there with Lexi, I was like, what are they making it isometric? Are they making it isometric? Oh my God, Lexi, are they? That's so cool. Whoa. I couldn't stop because it was so, and and I know it's fake, but it was a long one take. Seeing John Wick coming around corners and coming around, and
it was cool.
It was so, I've never seen it. I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure it's happened.
For sure.
But I've never seen it so seamless, so like pitch perfect in the movie. Usually a gimmick like that will be in a video game movie or something, but it takes you out, right? It's like a shtick.
No,
this just made sense.
Yeah, no,
understand what was happening.
I loved it. I was like, oh, that's such a useful shot just to see overhead, like everything that's going on, the room layout. Like I could think of a million reasons why that's like an interesting shot for stuff.
And on top of all that, that's really Keanu doing these long shots of all this action. That's so cool. You don't get that in movies anymore.
No, I loved it. I love this whole sequence. If this movie was just everything up to the card table and then this sequence, it would have been a perfect movie. Like genuinely, I would have loved it.
This could have been a perfect movie. You know, the only thing that this movie, probably the whole franchise, really needs is just like a script doctor that's not afraid to tell them no.
Yes.
Why is this here?
Yes.
This is stupid. Just cut it. Just cut it. Just get there. Have one of your cringy lines that's a little funny and then get into the thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah. They needed like you're right. One more person who wasn't involved with the rest of the process, an outsider who's just good at looking at scripts, to look at it and say, okay, here are like a couple of things you can fix.
And barely even fixed. It's just tightening, just cutting.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, like there's a cut of this movie that, you know, they like, I'm sure they were making the movie and fell into this whole like, well, shit, the way we filmed it and the way we set this up, we have to have this scene to say why we're getting to the duel. We have to have the scene of how John can make this duel. We have to have the scene to how, because we took him out of the Ruska Roma. Now we got to put him back in to justify. They just like caught themselves in like of like trappings. You see it happen a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and the only way is to like be above it and realize that there's probably a cleverer way to just get out of it
100%.
Or no one cares.
Yeah. An outsider's perspective for sure would have been very helpful.
I loved he had that flamethrower shotgun thing. I don't know what it was, but every time he was shooting people, they were catching on fire as he was going up the staircase in the house. And that was great. And then that was the big moment he had with the trade-off with the dog guy.
Yeah.
Where he was about to kill the tracker and instead he killed the other guy because he was going to attack the dog. And he was like, oh, you saved my dog? Oh, what? Oh, was I wrong about you the whole time? Oh, do I not care about money now? You saved my dog. Oh.
We also didn't understand why he wanted money so bad. Like, I'm assuming...
Capitalism, baby.
Yeah, sure. But like, I'm assuming he's an assassin who's been able to kill other people and at some point make some money. Like, he seemed like he was desperate for money in the same way that Joey Wheeler was desperate for money in Yu-Gi-Oh! When he was like, I gotta save my sister's eyes. I have to win the
Dude.
tournament.
That is a perfect analogy.
Like, it was just like, oh shit. Like, I was like, does he have a sister operation? Does he have like a family member that like, if he gets this money, they'll be freed or saved? Like something. He was so desperate for money.
And they made him act like it was just for the money.
It was so weird.
You're right.
I don't know.
Can I also say, listen, we're supposed to buy that it's this high table, the Court of Owls, the like League of Assassins, the Empire. It's this like shadow organization. It's the Illuminati. It's controlling everything, right?
Yeah.
Did it feel to you like they were being a little cheap about the money they were giving for John Wick? Because like 20 million is a lot of money, Marcus. 20 million is a lot of money. 20 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But like, that's where it starts. And then they were like, fine, increase it. It goes to like 26.
And also,
and then the big cap off of the movie was 40. And I was like, I feel like he should have started at 20 and then gone to 50 and then gone to 100 and then gone to 300. And then by the end point of the movie, it should have been ridiculous and been $500 million.
Yeah. This
right?
is 100%. Like it was just like, are you guys broke? Like, it was just so weird because every time they kept asking for more money, he was like, Bill Skarsgård was physically ill. He was just like,
about 10 million?
10 million. Oh, and he's just like freaking out. And I was like, aren't you like a big criminal organization?
I'm supposed to assume like 10 Elon Musks sit at this table, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Elon Musk doesn't give a crap about $20 million, dude. Let me tell you what. Clearly.
I was like, wait,
how much did he buy Twitter for?
Is
20
Jeffrey
billion?
Bezos more rich than this evil like billionaire? Like, I don't understand what's happening.
How much do you think Twitter costs?
I don't know. $500 million.
$43 billion. And Elon Musk did that on a whim.
Yeah,
20 million? They can't afford going from 20 to 40?
Yeah.
That I had a lot of trouble. Honestly, it was really
funny.
bothering me because it was such an easy fix.
Mm-hmm. It's made up movie money. You
they
can say
have
any number.
bulletproof things. It should have been at least 100 million, if not 500 million at the end. That would have been so funny. That's the point. 30 million, 35.
And this is John Wick. He is like, they hired Bill Skarsgård specifically to do this task. They like brought out the big guns. They're all over New York City, causing all kinds of public destruction, which they're supposed to be like a secret organization. They're just out here publicly like having gunfights in the middle of the street. Like we're in fucking
Well, that's
Gotham
in Paris. No one gives a shit what
something.
happens in Paris.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. But like in the other films, it was in New York City, and it was alarming.
It was.
Like, it's so strange. And you don't have money to do this, to pay someone to kill John Wick?
You pay a gold coin for a taxi cab ride. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. Like the artifacts in like the Continentals that they're showing.
Yeah.
One of those is worth 5 million.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah,
they have like it. I don't know what they have, but it looks like they have like pages of the Dead Sea Scrolls and shit, like priceless heirlooms and art. There's millions and millions and millions of dollars in those rooms, and they can only give 20 million.
I know,
to stop the person who's about to try to kill them all and completely destroy their foundation. And everyone's going crazy for the 20 million.
How broke
like
are
nuts?
These assassins?
Lexi's biggest problem with it was like, why do these random assassins think they can do it? No one else has done it.
Fair.
The best of the best can't do it. Why are you all just killing yourselves on the altar? And I was like, it's fair.
Yeah,
it's fair. 20 million is not that much. I would.
Also, like, it does. If $20 million is to kill the biggest target that this organization has, like, how lucrative is being an assassin? Like, it must not be that lucrative overall.
They should be hedge fund managers.
Like,
100%.
do anything else. Work a 9 to 5. It's probably better.
Well,
and John Wick doesn't shoot you. That's better.
It's fair. 20 million is crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
20 million is a lot of money. I get it. But at a certain point, once you get past like $1 million,
Mhm.
we can't perceive what that amount of money is.
Exactly.
So it should just be silly.
Mm-hmm. That's a
Anyway,
good point.
That really bothered me. And then we get to the big duel, and it was great. I liked it a lot because of Donnie Yen. Oh, you didn't like any of it?
It was great.
What I liked about it was Donnie Yen
100%.
and John Wick. Their acting and the way it played out, great.
I support you. I agree 100%. It
What
was
were you gonna
great.
say?
So they have a duel. They're walking. They're doing the duel thing. You know, like walk 10 paces and then shoot and yada yada. They're shooting each other, yada yada, and then they have to walk closer and closer and closer. And then what happens is Donnie Yen shoots Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves falls. Bill Skarsgård walks over and he's like, "Ha ha ha! Like you've been defeated." And then they're like, "He didn't shoot his gun, you idiot!" And then Keanu Reeves picks up the gun and shoots Bill Skarsgård, and that's the end of the film. I might have missed something, and maybe you can help me. But why couldn't they just point, like when they had got closer before Keanu Reeves got shot that last time? Like, why couldn't they just turn and shoot Bill Skarsgård?
Oh, because they were following the rules. They were still following the rules. Like
Keanu Reeves officially lost, so then he could kill Bill Skarsgård.
No, he officially won.
Keanu
Bill
Reeves won?
Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård used Kane as his second. When Bill Skarsgård took the gun, he was a part of the duel. He was taking his rightful place as part of the duel.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I missed.
That's why Clancy Brown was like, "Now you guys are free," because they won the duel.
Got it. He won the duel because this guy's like, "I'm in the duel now. I'm the main duel man," and then Keanu Reeves shot him. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, which is a fine enough way to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as Keanu Reeves was shot and fell down, I didn't even turn to Lexi. I right out of my mouth right away went, "He didn't shoot the gun."
Yeah,
it's just super obvious. I just
yeah.
Why would he have missed Kane?
Yeah, 100%.
He didn't shoot
100%
at that close. Kane can't see. he hit John Wick and John Wick did not hit him.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
Yeah.
But,
you're right.
But also, like, you know, those guns are so inaccurate, right? Like they're trying to get as close. That's like part of the game too, right?
Yeah.
It's chance with it. I thought that was fine. God, it's so hard because I didn't mind it all, but like, do I think that John Wick should have had a different kind of death? Maybe.
I think so.
But I didn't hate it. I'm not mad at it. I feel myself wanting more.
Yeah.
But that's not the worst feeling ever.
It didn't feel like we are at a point where a lot of our favorite franchises are getting swan songs. They're getting big endings. We got Logan. We're getting things like closing up, a bow tied around it, and then being shipped off, and like either people right? People are passing it on to the next generation or whatever. Like we're getting that. We're in that
our Indiana
time
Jones
of media.
Soon.
Indiana Jones. We're in that time, and so for this movie to, I feel like, drop the ball at the end of it with that, it kind of was like, it felt like it didn't have as much weight as the other pieces of media that we've been seeing that have been doing that kind of thing.
Yeah. It was in any other film, it would have been good enough and fine.
Yeah.
It's just, if this is truly the end of it, it's just been so miraculous how we got here that for that to be the way it goes, it just felt, you know, like, but I also don't know what would have been more satisfying because like he can't die. Like that's like, he can't lose I don't want him to lose do I want him to lose a fight?
Yeah.
Not really, you know? So like, how do you kill him?
Here's where I'm at with this movie in terms of the ending. Like that hour, 45 minutes or whatever that I said they could have cut, they could have had John Wick have like dialogue. Like how many lines of dialogue did he have in this film?
Not a lot.
He didn't really say much of anything in the film. He could have like talked to more people, developed more friendships.
I want to be buried next to my wife, like things like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's end this like that.
Stuff. Give him a couple more lines that like endear us to him right before he's gonna go.
Yeah. I did like his scene in the church with Kane, right?
Yeah.
But
I
that
like that.
wasn't right at the end, right? Like something like that needed to happen at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So then they buried him next to his wife, and then
Yep.
that was the he said earlier, I wanted to say loving husband, and it said, and it did.
And it did.
And
Yeah.
the manager was there. I also think they dropped the ball a little bit on the manager, because the manager has been such a cool character and
Oh,
so
yeah.
interesting. And in this movie, he
was
just
fine.
waited. He was just waiting for the duel to finish. That's it. They
Yep.
killed Sharon to give him something to be sad about, I guess.
Yeah.
But I also kind of wish that death hit him differently, like it hit him harder.
I wish it
right?
hit him harder. That's a good point.
Like he went, like, burn them all to hell.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Bowery King. He was like, fine, let's fucking kill these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know? I kind of wish he was like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Or like at the end, he like killed one of the high table, blew himself up with the high table.
Mhm.
It's, the whole high table was the whole high table should have been there for the last duel.
Yeah.
And then like he blew himself up with them, or like something.
You're right. You're right. Something was missing.
That being said, the journey to get here was freaking cool. Like, this movie delivered on all the things you go to a John Wick movie for,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And while we do have these like foibles and like these things that are wrong, you know, story wise, and it's a little bloated and they explain too much, and that's not why you go to a John Wick movie. You go to a John Wick movie to see him do these really cool things, and he did some really cool things in this movie.
Yeah.
Like some very noticeable things I'll remember for a long time. I will remember that isometric view. I will remember that the Osaka Continental with all the swords and bows and arrows. I will remember, you know, the ding dongs in the kitchen. I will remember the stairs. I will remember those things for a long time.
Yeah. Agreed. Especially like since I can barely remember anything that happened in 2 or 3. This movie was much more memorable.
Number 2 had Common and him fighting in the Oculus in New York.
I remember Common was in the movie, and that's it.
They fought in the Oculus, and they shot each other like this.
Sounds funny.
It was funny. They were not bringing any attention to themselves, and they were just like, as they were walking in the Oculus.
I got nothing.
Anyway, all right. I really like this movie.
That's fair.
But Marcus, that's the end of the movie, dude.
That's the end of the movie.
Shout out to like wardrobe and like the aesthetic of the movie, props and scenic design.
Yeah.
It slapped. It was really cool. I really liked that the radio DJ got to play different songs during that long thing. You know?
Yeah.
Like playing Back to Black is a little on the nose, but also like, yeah, that is what you play. And then they played some silly songs because of it. I liked all that.
Fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Anything else you want to talk about for John Wick?
I mean, thank you, patrons, for giving us John Wick and giving us this
Heck yeah.
challenge.
The budget of this
great.
movie was $100 million, and it made, what's the box office, do you think?
300 million.
400 million.
Wow. Enough
That
to
is
kill
a
John Wick
success.
many times over.
Right? Guess what I'm saying? Oh, bro, let me blow your mind. How much do you think Keanu Reeves made making this movie? At
40
least
million?
half of what it cost to kill him.
Yeah, right.
At least
That's a
10.
good point.
Right? How much money did it make for all 4 John Wick's movies? Enough to kill him, probably.
It costs more money to hire Keanu Reeves to play John Wick than it does to kill John Wick in the movies.
Oh my god, it's so
very funny.
stupid.
Mhm.
I'm gonna remember that forever. How dumb that was. And I didn't realize in the other films it felt like it felt fine.
Yeah.
It's just in this one, it's like now they're in.
This is the ending.
Everyone in the Illuminati want him dead. The Illuminati want him dead, and they can't go from 30 to 35 without like clenching their pearls.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Good point. I love that you brought that up. Great point. Killing it.
Anyway, shout out to everybody who did this movie though. It was real cool.
Nick, are you
All
ready
right.
for the questions?
Yeah, sure.
Did you like
Marcus.
this movie? Oh, you want to ask me first?
No, you can go. Marcus, I liked this movie a lot. I would say like 9 out of 10. Like I'm going to rewatch this movie for sure.
So
Because I just really, really loved the things that were John Wick-y about it.
So after talking about the movie, you're still giving it like 9. You agree with the score 93%?
Yeah.
You wouldn't knock it at all? Wow.
No.
Okay.
It's all fixable. The things that are wrong.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. Like they're fixable problems. It's just like
But 93%.
I will take those problems. I will take every single one of those problems if it means I get a movie this good. Marcus, what about you? Did you like this movie?
I like the movie, but it's a
Yeah.
70% for me.
70's so low.
No, it's not. 70's a lot of great movies are 70%.
Maybe you're not as forgiving as me. I remember Joseph and I would go to the movies all the time, and anytime we would see a mediocre movie, it would be 7. Mediocre.
So 7's mediocre.
7's mediocre for me.
7 is like, I didn't have a great time watching this movie.
You did though.
And I didn't have a great time. No, there was the whole 45 minutes in the middle of the movie that I was miserable.
Let it go, man. Who hurt you?
It was 45 minutes.
You gave up 45 minutes of your life. You gave up 45 minutes of your life to watch a kick-ass movie. Deal with it. God.
That's why it's not a 0, and that's why it's a 70%.
Oh my God. What's
That's
the next
crazy.
question?
Hereditary has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
There are problems with that movie. I agree with that rating. That ending's
man.
real bad for me. I didn't think the ending sticks like the landing.
Let's see. Midsommar 83% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Midsommar dropped the ball a little bit. Let's be honest.
Oh my God. What's Get Out have? That one probably has 100%.
Oh, Get Out probably has like 92.
98.
98. Yeah,
Okay,
that's pretty
that's
right.
fair. That's fair.
Get
That's
Out's
fair.
pretty perfect. Get Out's a pretty perfect film, dude.
The Shining
mean-
has 82%.
Eh,
John
some of
Wick's
those
better
things
than The
don't-
Shining.
hell yeah, dude.
No.
Hell yeah. Give me another one. 'What's Titanic?
88% on Rotten Tomatoes. John Wick's better than the Titanic.
Listen, I'm gonna replace my Rose Funko right now with a John Wick Funko because
Oh my God. Okay, Your Name.
Yeah.
Your Name has 98%. It deserves 98%.
Yeah, it
it's
does.
a near perfect movie.
Your Name is a near perfect movie.
Everywhere. Okay, Everything Everywhere All at Once. 94% is 1% higher than John Wick.
Yeah, but it also has
Is
like
it-
27 Oscars, so who cares?
But it's not 1% better than John Wick, is what.
When John Wick gets the Oscar, then we can have this talk. They're not on the same level just because of the percent.
I think you're right. I think there's something there. I just don't think 93% is where I would put it. And that's okay.
I'm messing with you. I think if I was being super critical and like it had everything I love, but if I'm talking objectively what the movie is rated, it would probably be like a 81, 79.
Okay.
That's probably like if I'm being critical, but I'm not because I had such a good time. Right.
And that's okay. And even that I would give like 10 points to, 10% to, like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And that puts you around where everybody else
We
is. Like,
agreed
that's fine.
about everything.
We agreed, except the middle 45 minutes of the movie that we both yada talking about.
No,
Like-
we agree that was very yada yada.
Yeah, exactly.
We agreed.
We did agree about everything.
It's just somebody hurt you and took away 45 minutes of your life, and you think you're gonna die 45 minutes earlier than the rest of us,
I think
and you want that time back. I don't care.
Here's why 45 minutes matters to me.
Okay.
I wish I could have taken a picture of myself because this weekend I had my controller and I was playing a match of Yu-Gi-Oh on my phone. I had my video game controller and I was playing Dredge on the TV. I had a clip that holds my phone and I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh on my phone while playing Dredge. So 2 games at the same time and listening to an audiobook. And I was just laying down and I was just like, this is how I function as a person. Like I was doing all of that stuff at the same time and I was having a great time. And that's how I use my time. So when I'm watching a movie, I have to watch the movie, especially for the podcast. So it is like, I am so aware of the things that I'm not doing while I'm watching this movie.
Marcus, can you do me a favor and go record a clip of yourself doing these 3 things all at once so I can insert it here?
Okay.
Because
okay.
Marcus, that's a problem. That's not a point to brag about. That's like something's wrong. We should like help you out. That's not. We need to like slow you down, bro. We need to find a way to slow you down.
Yeah. You know all those people on TikTok that are like, here's how you can squeeze more time into your day, yada yada. I'm like, I'm being as efficient as I can at any given moment.
Mixing your avocado brownies. Hey. Swipe. Oh my God, he killed him? Stir. Oh.
That's how I am.
We need to talk after we end this
Mhm.
podcast. Marcus, second question is, would you recommend this film?
Honestly, yeah, I would recommend this film.
Same. It was great. I'm going to go ask Lexi's mom to see if she's watched these films. She would love them.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcus, lastly, I'll ask you specifically because we know about 3 things that may or may not happen. Would you watch a John Wick 5? Will you watch the spin-off movie, The Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas, which takes place between chapters 3 and 4, so Keanu Reeves will guest in it for a second? And will you be watching the Continental prequel show that has said will feature younger versions of the characters we know now?
No to the first one. No to the second one. Yes to the last one.
Oh, so you won't watch a John Wick 5
No.
or Ballerina,
No.
but a TV show
Because
prequel?
I can leave a TV show. It's harder
sure.
to leave a movie, you know?
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
I'm like 20 minutes and I hate the movie, I'm like, I might as well finish it, you know? But a TV show, it's like, okay, it's also each episode's not going to waste whole 5 minutes. Hopefully. We'll see.
I mean, that's how long the episodes will be.
But I'll watch it and then I can decide whether or not I
You can
wanna.
also play 2 games and stir your avocado brownies while you're watching a TV show.
That's how I live my life, Nick. That's how I live my life. Nick, if you see me relaxing, you would think I have a mental illness, and I do.
I obviously will watch John Wick 5. I will be checking out Ballerina, and honestly, the show is the one I'm like most trepidatious about checking out, just because most shows like that aren't good. You know?
Yeah. I
Like
think
they're not good.
I liked a lot of the fight sequences and the choreography, but I think that like it
But
was
that's because they took a month to train for him. and to
exactly
film
yeah.
him.
They took a little too long too, though. So I feel like you cut that up between episodes. You give me like a good solid like chunk of fight, and break it up a little bit more. I think it might work better for me.
Maybe, but then you take a show like Daredevil, right? Where it's like that had all the money and time as much as a TV show can get when that was coming out. And like a solid 50% of it hit, right?
Honestly, I like the fights in that one though.
Yeah, but that's it.
Mm,
And there should have been more.
mm.
Because the rest of the
You're
stuff
right.
wasn't as good.
But I like
That's
the
what I'm saying.
fights.
That's why trepidatious about stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, maybe with the right team, you know, it's also prevalent in my head right now is all the articles and all the clips of like how the Flash TV show has deteriorated.
Oh yeah.
And I know that's different because there's less money and it's just a thing, but like that is prevalent in my head.
yeah.
You know what show that I keep meaning to watch that I bet would be a good indicator of how good that show could be? It's that HBO show. It's a kung fu show, Warrior, I think.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I've heard
Yeah.
amazing things about it.
That's why
Um,
that they've been some good shows, a couple of them. There was like a
But I haven't watched
post-apocalyptic
them,
show
so-
too that was like on the CW that was like
Oh,
good.
Borderlands,
Something,
Badlands.
yeah, with a lot of like
no, it was not. It was on
guns.
AMC.
Oh yes, AMC. Guns were like
Yeah.
outlawed, and it was just kung fu, and it was like
Yeah.
a lot of people like that one too. And that was AMC. Like I think
I meant to check that out too,
they could do more.
but I didn't watch it. We should probably watch one of the shows. Guys, if you think we should watch one of the shows, let us know because you can join the conversation at patreon.com/nowtrythiscast. Become a patron, submit, vote. Let us know what we're going to do next month. And you also get to join the Discord. And we're very excited to add more stuff on there. We just need you guys to join to justify doing it first. You can also join the conversation. Follow us everywhere at nowtrythiscast. Catch us live on twitch.tv/nowtrythiscast every Tuesday at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, if you can't do any of that, if you can't give us your money, if you can't subscribe, we totally understand, but it would be helpful if you would at least leave us 5 stars on whatever platform you are watching or listening this show.
That was beautifully put. I forgot to give you your challenge on air. I feel like we talked about it a little bit, but
Oh, crap.
next week,
Roll it
just a couple of house cleaning things. Next week we won't be around. We're gonna skip next week.
Well, we should have, maybe I'll edit all this to the front.
We're gonna skip next week because we need a break, and also Nick's challenge is going to be watch the first season of the TV show Up Here, because I cried during every episode and I want Nick to cry too.
Seems wild. Seems wild that it would make you cry that much.
Mm-hmm.
Was it between the swipes or between the stirs? Like, that's just like, when do you have time to cry? But no, I'm super excited to watch it. Love musical shows. Let's see how it turns out.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Remember to check out the Patreon. Remember to join us on Twitch. Remember to just like our content. There's plenty of free ways to support us. We love you. And remember to go out there and try some things. Good night.
Night.
Friends get together so that they can try things. Yell about it, it's podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
Killed it. Great episode. 10 out of 10.
Crush.
Crush.